We've got another crazy NIL situation. You guys aren't going to believe this. Last night, it is totally off the rails at this point. It's so bad. And then today as well, an offensive tackle, Chase Bacentis from New Jersey. He is a top 70 overall player, and he will be very likely committing to Texas A&M. Total NIL. You take a look at some of the teams that he's interested in: LSU, Michigan State, and Texas A&M, along with Rutgers. But guys, I kind of wanted to talk about the current status of the Texas A&M investigation. And basically what I was told and how I understand it, the NCAA, now that we hear about the Tennessee news coming out, they can shift their focus as that investigation wraps up, and they can really ramp up the NIL investigation against Texas A&M. Now, there is a really murky thing. I know a lot of A&M fans are going to try and argue different things. I'm going to talk about why Texas A&M, if we're talking about NIL investigations, Texas A&M is the team that needs to be made an example out of, because I already know the arguments they're going to use about what about Miami, what about Tennessee, what about Oregon. They all do it. And it's like, listen, if you're the NCAA, you simply don't have enough resources to investigate everything. You have to go back to the original team that really went off the rails, which was Texas A&M, and go after them and go through a major investigation. If you investigate the recruitments of LT Overton, the reclassification process of that, Walter Nolan, several other players, I could get a list together about how blatantly Texas A&M weaponized NIL in 2022, and then they say, oh, everyone did it, and that's simply just not the case. Texas A&M, there's a reason they signed the greatest recruiting class in history and nobody else did in 2022, because they were completely reckless. They were historically cheating. And if you're the NCAA and you really want to nip this in the butt, this was something I said back in March. I predicted Miami would go off the rails, and they've done just that. I predicted Oregon would start trying to do some things with the Nike money they got, and they go out and get a 5-star quarterback from Michigan. This is all connected, and if you're the NCAA, you simply don't have the resources to investigate every little NIL infraction. You take a situation like this, Texas A&M is the cancer. My fist is Texas A&M. The cancer has spread all over college football, right? It's spread to Miami. It's spread. All these places are doing the exact same thing that Texas A&M did. But Texas A&M, they're the tumor that needs to be removed from college football. That's the only way we get to a more healthy place. And the hope is if you make an example out of Texas A&M, these other schools will be less likely. I mean, Louisville is another one. Florida is another one. Texas, we've got a story on an offensive tackle from Texas, folks. You won't believe it. It is horrible NIL. How about the offensive? Let's go to it right now. I'm going to go to this before I lose it. We have Peyton Kirkland, who's actually a lower 4-star, who Texas blatantly played, who Texas blatantly paid. And you can see this update last night while Kirkland continues to relay picking between Michigan State, Miami, Florida, Oklahoma, and Alabama. There is some buzz behind the scenes that Texas has emerged as a serious player in the 11th hour. What a miracle. Oh, I wonder what changed. Wasn't even in their top 5. Wasn't even in this kid's top 5. However, it should probably be noted Kirkland has he's never visited. That's another part of the story. The kid doesn't have Texas in his top 5. He's never visited Texas. And then what happens? Oh, it's a miracle. Peyton Kirkland makes a shocking commitment to Texas. The communication never stopped. It was the communication. They were never in my top 5. I never visited. But you know what? It was a last-second thing. I didn't get paid. There's no shady NIL deal going on, folks. This is completely off the rails. Completely off the rails. This is not how recruiting should be happening. And I've said multiple times, they're going to come at us. They're going to say we don't want kids to get paid. No, I'm fine with Trevion Henderson getting paid when he gets to Ohio State and he makes a multi-million-dollar deal. I'm fine with that. We're trying to protect the kids. We want to protect the kids and let the kids choose the school that best suits them, not the school that's going to give them an NIL deal just to go to the school, which is what's been happening, and it is completely illegal. And what Texas A&M fans and with the people within these programs, they want to play on college football fans' ignorance, and they just say, well, it's all legal now. NIL made everything legal. Not true at all. It is completely illegal to court and weaponize NIL and bribe kids to go to your school based off of an NIL deal you're going to give them. That is completely against the rules. And, obviously the NCAA did not enforce it last year, which only makes the cancer spread. Texas A&M is the tumor that started growing last year, and obviously they grew pretty big because they signed the greatest class in history, but now the tumor is spreading to other parts of the body. Now the tumor is spreading to the state of Florida. Now the tumor is spreading to the Pacific Northwest. It's going to Oregon. And all these schools are doing it because they see not only did Texas A&M not get penalized, they got rewarded. They got the greatest class in history. They've got an influx of talent that's going to allow them to contend for national championships in the future. This is a similar situation to the whole teams canceling games, blaming the pandemic. Michigan did this in 2020. The idea with Michigan, 30-point underdogs against Ohio State. They cancel the game. Not only do they not get penalized, they get rewarded because the next year, the game's in Michigan. So 2019, Michigan faces Ohio State in Ann Arbor. 2020, they're 30-point underdogs. Oh, we can't play. Oh, we're sorry. Let's just play you in 2021 back in Ann Arbor again. You get rewarded. These teams get, now obviously I'm not talking about Michigan cheating in recruiting. They don't. Michigan does not weaponize NIL. I'm making a comparison. It's teams doing things that are illegal and they get rewarded for them, like Texas A&M cheating in NIL, and they're rewarded by signing the greatest class in history. You need to nip this in the butt by going after Texas A&M and opening up an investigation, and hopefully they do it. I don't know when it would start. The intel is we're hoping now that the Tennessee investigation is over, they really look into this. But this is just another kid I saw today, Chase Pacentes, total NIL. Michigan State is another one. And it's not nothing against these programs that are using the NIL. If you look at Texas A&M doing it, it's completely, they're getting away with it. You have to think, is it good for us to possibly be doing this? And you take a look at all the programs blatantly cheating. They're not the most successful programs in most cases. They're programs that they've been down. Texas A&M's been decent, but when's the last? Texas A&M's never made the playoff. They barely make New Year's Six games. Miami, they've been down. Tennessee, they've been down. Louisville, they're not good at football. Oregon, they've been down the last few years. These are all similar programs to where if you're recruiting on an even playing field, it's going to be tough for you to land some of these 5 stars. But if you throw these kids money, it becomes a lot more easier. So we're not seeing major NIL deals reported for recruits to go to Alabama, to go to Ohio State, to even go to Georgia, although Georgia keeps it on really low. I think they also cheat as well. But either way, we're not seeing it with many of these bigger schools. It always tends to be the schools that are down, that are desperate for players, that are desperate for elite talent, and I'm not blaming them. The NCAA really created this problem when they didn't see what Texas A&M was doing, and they said, hey, if you're a 5-star 2023 defensive lineman who reclassifies and joins a class that already has 3 defensive linemen in it, yeah, that's a little bit weird, okay? We're going to have to do some investigative work into that, and hopefully the NCAA does something, because this is completely off the rails. If you strictly, ban Texas A&M from the bowls for multiple years, do a bowl ban, something like that, you would theoretically at least make these other teams that are blatantly abusing NIL wary of it. And you'd have a team like Miami say, hey, what if that's us next? Let's not do that. So this is a major issue. The biggest concern we have is the NCAA ends up putting some sort of laws in place, or they get passed through Congress, and then they say, oh, you know what, we're not going to investigate anyone for cheating. These are the new laws now. Now it's good. No. You can't have teams blatantly cheat, get away with it, because now all those five-star players are on Texas A&M's roster. They cheated in recruiting. They got a bunch of five-star players, and that could result in them winning multiple playoff games, winning a national championship. This needs to be nipped in the butt right now. You need to punish this right now, get it out of the way. Don't just say, oh, you know what, now that we've got in 2024 when something in Congress gets passed that makes this situation a lot easier, oh, we're just going to let the teams be as is. We're not going to investigate anyone. Yet they investigate Tennessee for 60. You know what, guys, when I saw that figure with Tennessee, it's disgusting, $60,000. I think Texas A&M boosters have paid over $60,000 for some kids' dinners when they visit. That's how bad it is. And then, oh, we're going to investigate. We're going to spend all of our resources investigating Tennessee, who barely even gets anyone anyways, although they're using the NIL thing now too. But it's such an insult to people's intelligence. Really, that's what it is. And it's sad that they do this. But either way, guys, I mean, these situations are left and right. I'm not attacking the kids. It's a market, whatever. The adults are going to offer you money. It's hard to turn it down. They're 16, 17 years old. I'm not going after Peyton Kirkland. I'm not. But it is funny trying to see these kids be like, oh, it's just the communication never stopped. Yeah, they were never in my top 5. I was never going there. The kid actually has a tweet where he kind of clowns Texas 3 days before he commits to the program, apparently. You can see now, why would I go to Texas? And then it's the Russell Westbrook, what? Thing, little GIF or whatever. Maybe you could say, oh, he's trolling, he's trying to throw people off the scent. But either way, guys, this is not how typical recruitments go. You don't have a top 5 and then completely backtrack and go to a school you've never visited. It's just very odd, to be completely honest. If I'm being 100% nice, I'm saying, oh, it's very odd. If I'm being real, I'm saying Texas is blatantly weaponizing and cheating through NIL. And again, guys, Texas A&M is the one I would punish because they were the first ones to go off the rails, and their fans are going to now be, oh, everyone does it. Yeah, that's what they're going to say now. Everyone does it. No, you did it first, and you were off the rails first, so you're going to get punished. And I've said the options I would give Texas A&M, you either get a 5-year bowl ban, or you're going to have to terminate Jimbo Fisher. So you have two options. You can try and appeal the bowl ban down to 3 years. I don't know. It's completely off the rails, and the only way to reverse it is taking it out on A&M because they did it first, and really all these other schools I'm not interested in punishing because you don't have enough resources to investigate all of the other schools. I know Miami gave a quarterback $9 million. I know Tennessee gave a quarterback $8 million. I know Oregon gave a quarterback well over $4 million, and his family new jobs with Nike. So we know this is going on everywhere, but it's all going on in 2023 because of Texas A&M getting away with what they got away with in 2022. It's spreading now. So that is why you go after the University of Texas A&M in a major investigation, hopefully by the end of the summer, and really try and nip it in the butt. But now it's happening to where the 2022 class was ruined with NIL cheating, and the 2023 class is going to be ruined with NIL cheating. I mean, you could go through every 5-star. Probably half of them are going to be crazy NIL deals. I could go through every 5-star and talk about it. It is crazy. There's still several offensive tackles. I mean, Miami is really the one that's gone off the rails in 2023. I predicted they would be, and they are. But it's Texas, right? I'm not saying Texas cheated for Arch Manning. There's no reason Arch Manning would need an NIL deal or anything like that with his family and how set they are. But some of the guys around Arch Manning, There's some real shady stuff going on with Texas, and why wouldn't there be? If you're the University of Texas, you're going to the SEC, you have to win now. Your schedule is only getting harder. It makes sense why these programs are blatantly abusing this. Absolutely. And they're all similar. They're all programs that used to be good, and they're trying to be good again, right? And so to get good again, they're not trying to build it up the right way. They're trying to fast track it and say, hey, maybe we wouldn't have been able to get that 5-star against Alabama or against Ohio State or against another school. But now with NIL, we can facilitate a deal that would enable a team like Tennessee to get a top 5 player from the state of California who happens to be a pro-style quarterback. That is the issue. So guys, this is stuff we're going to continue to track, but that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description.